Hey guys, Eliza here. Today I'm going to be going over Battle Bingo and why it's the quickest and most efficient way to farm Poke Coupons in Pokemon Colosseum and XD Gale of Darkness. I'm going to be covering a few different topics, so if you want to skip to any of them, I'll include time skips, but the 6 things I'm going to be covering are why you want the Mount Battle Berries / why you want to farm Poke Coupons, different ways to farm Mount Battle Berries and earn Poke Coupons, how I came to find the method personally, a quick explanation on how Battle Bingo works, and I'll go over why it only needs to be a quick explanation, the math proving that it's the fastest and most effective way to do this, and then how it all works and comes together. So if you want to skip to any of that, I'm including the time skips to all those different parts, and without further ado, let's just get straight into it. So the first thing I'm going to be covering is why you want the Mount Battle Berries. So whether it's because you just want to farm regular Poke Coupons to get the items, or the Mount Battle Tutor for your Mew, or whatever it is, as ribbon runners, the most important thing to use the Mount Battle points for are the Battle Berries. In a ribbon run, contests are everywhere. You have them in Hoenn, you have them in Sinnoh, you have them in the Oros remakes, and assuming BDSP gets home compatibility, we're going to have them there too. The later contests are relatively easy, but Hoenn and Sinnoh are actually pretty difficult. I've included a photo of my Shuckle stats from when I did the ribbon run, and as you can see, Tough is nearly maxed out, Smart is nearly maxed out, and then the rest of them are pretty high, but not near as much as Tough and Smart. With these, I still struggled a bit here and there on a few sections of it, and that was with the Mount Battle Berries. So if you don't use the Mount Battle Berries, I imagine it would be a bit more of a struggle, to be completely honest. So the Mount Battle Berries are imperative to making the best Poke blocks that we can. You'll notice that all the Battle Berries cost 15,000, or if you want one of each so you can do this properly, you're gonna need 60,000. So we need to figure out the fastest and most effective way to farm Mount Battle. So let's go into the different ways to farm Mount Battle. In Colosseum, we have 2 ways. There's Mount Battle, obviously. Mount Battle has 2 separate modes, Story Mode and Battle Mode, but Battle Mode always rewards more coupons than Story Mode, so I'm going to ignore Story Mode's existence. And then in Battle Mode, you could either battle all 100 trainers or just do Area 10 for 5,000 coupons. I'll break down which is more valuable. And then the second option is Colosseum battles. I believe it's or Colosseum provides the highest amount of coupons, so I'll be breaking down that one and whether or not it's efficient. I'm not going to go over the other ones. So then we get into XD, and we know it has Mount Battle, again, same thing as before, it has a entire 100 trainer battle or just Area 10. I'll be breaking down which is better between those two. And then I couldn't find any difference between Story Mode and Battle Mode for this one, so I'm going to assume their coupon payout is the same, but I'll break down what its coupon payout is. Then, down here, we have the Battle CDs. At the start of the game, you're actually using a Battle CD to battle these 2 Pokemon against each other, and it's like the tutorial to teach you how to battle. There are 50 Battle CDs that are available later in the game, and if you collect all 50, and then beat all 50, you're awarded some coupons, and I'll go over that in a little bit. And then there's Battle Bingo, where each board, these are all different types of boards, Novice, Regular, Expert, Extra, and then there's 2 different play modes, 4 panel and 1 panel, and I'll break down what the difference are between those. So these are going to be the different ways to farm that I cover in section 4 to show you which is more valuable and which is not really entirely necessary. Okay, so how did I find the Battle Bingo method? So when I did my ribbon run with the Nivea the Shuckle, I was going through Colosseum, which has the Mount Battle grind or the Colosseum grinds. And I'll be honest, I did not enjoy playing either of them. I was pretty miserable just going through the motions and playing it. It didn't feel like there was much strategy involved because of the team I was using, but I was able to beat it, I was able to get the coupons. So when I lost my Colosseum save and I lost my Emerald save, which had my berries on it, I was dreading having to grind these berries out again. But I had never played through XD, so I decided for my next ribbon run I was going to play through XD, and while playing through it, I bumped into Battle Bingo. And if you don't know what Battle Bingo is, it's one of those kind of mini games that Pokemon introduces as a side thing to do that has some incentive, but not really much. It's like if you were a big fan of, say, PokeStar Studios back in Black and White 2, or Pokeathlon, or Voltorb Flip in Heart Gold Soul Silver, or Poke-Me in any of the 3DS games, then Battle Bingo is going to be your favorite way to get Poke Coupons. I go over how to play Battle Bingo later on in the video. I think it's actually right after this portion. So if you don't know how to play it, I'll give a quick rundown on that. But so when I found Battle Bingo, it was 6 p.m., I believe, 2 days ago. And I sat down and I played Battle Bingo for about 7 hours. I beat all 10 boards and I replayed multiple of them. I was just trying to see how enjoyable it was, and it was a lot of fun. Me and my fiance played together, trying to figure out the best way to do it and such like that. It was super enjoyable. But there's two separate modes. There's 4 panel and 1 panel. I'll get over the difference while I'm explaining how to play the game. And so when we beat Extra 1 panel for the first time, we were awarded 3,600 coupons, and I was shocked. It was only a little bit less than the Mount Battle Area 10 method in Colosseum, and that took quite a bit of time to do, so I was wondering if there was a faster way to earn the coupons via Battle Bingo. So I went on r/Pokemon Ribbons and looked up Bingo, and there was one post a year ago from a user who had what I'm going to call Scyther strats. And their guide is kind of the whole framework for this. The strategy they use to optimize the Scyther card is similar to the strategy I'm going to be using to optimize the extra board. They had the right idea on everything, but at one point in their guide, they mentioned that they don't want to do the extra board because there's too much randomness involved, and then mentioned not to play on 1 panel mode because it makes it more difficult than it needs to be by adding in planning a route, which has the potential to take too much time. And I read those lines and I was like, okay, what if we can make it not take that much time? So I went to bed, and 5 hours later at 6 a.m., I woke up, sat down, and started working on this guide. I started figuring out how to optimize it, and then once I figured out the best and most effective method, I started this guide as a way to kind of share that with people to maybe save them from having to do this grind. So how do you play Battle Bingo? So when you load into a Battle Bingo board, it's going to have this 4x4, and then a starter Pokemon and 2 Master Balls. They kind of just hand out Master Balls like it's candy in this place. It might be a reference to when Colosseum had the infinite Master Ball glitch, but obviously we can't confirm that. But so, on the board, when you load in, you have a starter Pokemon. You don't get to pick your starter Pokemon. You're required to have a set starter Pokemon per board. That's what all these Pokemon are down here. They each show you who you would start with for that board. But so you load in, and there's 16 panels. 3 of them are question marks, which provide various items, and then the type of the Pokemon that you're going to face is listed. Now, your starter Pokemon has EP2. I've circled it up here. And what EPs are entry points, or action points, movement points, however you want to refer to them. And what that means is that at the start of the game, I get to choose one panel to move on to, and let's say I picked this fire panel up here. When I select it, that takes up an entry point and I go down to 1. So let's say I beat whatever this is, and then I move down 1. I'm now out of entry points. And then let's say I beat the grass type. Because I'm out of entry points, I actually lose, and I have to restart the board. So managing your EP is very important. Now, I mentioned these question marks earlier. One of these question marks gives you a +1 EP. So let's say you had a Pokemon in your party that you really didn't want to use, but it still had an EP. You could move it, and if you get the +1 EP, you can assign that EP to a different Pokemon. So if you had, say, a Chikorita who had 1 AP and your Dragonair was out, if you moved on to the +1, you could then if you moved on to the +1 with your Chikorita, you could give that +1 to Dragonair instead, effectively getting a free turn and moving it onto somebody else that maybe is a little more favorable for you. Now, the Master Balls are important because whenever you catch a Pokemon, it joins the team with 2 EP, so you can use the Master Balls to increase your movement. Another way to gain EP is by making a bingo. Let's say I connect the whole top row, that gains me 1 EP. Let's say I connect the next row, the next row, the next row. And if you make a move that would get you 2 bingos, let's say I had the fire, question mark, and the question mark grass water filled out, and then I got the fire, I would get 2 bingos at once, awarding me 2 EP. Give me one moment. Okay, sorry about that. And one of these question marks, so one of them is a +1 to EP, one of them is a +2 to EP, and one of them is a Master Ball. You don't know which one is which, but it will always be those 3 on the board. So you can't get 2 Master Balls, you can't get 2 +2s. It's always going to be a +1, a +2, and a Master Ball. You can have up to 3 Pokemon on your team, and then you have your starter Pokemon. So what you start out with is 8 EP. You need 16 to cover the board. There's 10 possible bingos here, which gets you to 18 EP available on the board, and then there's +3 from the question mark blocks. So there's 21 EP that you can possibly earn, and you end up with a little extra. You have about a 5-move buffer zone. But using your EP and making sure you gain EP before you run out is really important. Just keep that in mind once we get to explaining the strategy. So now let's get into a breakdown of the math on how this works and why it's the most consistent. So I listed all the different ways to earn coupons, and what I'm going to break down is I'm going to break down how many coupons they earn you, how long it takes, and then the points per minute / coupons per minute. I'm going to be honest, I'm not far enough in XD to do the CD collection method, so I can't do the collect all 50 CDs and then beat all 50 of them. But because it's a one-time bonus of 1,500, once I break down my method, unless you can collect all 50 and beat them within an hour, it's not worth it to collect all 50. But I'll get into that in a minute. So here's the layout. It's going to be, I'm going to say the game, where it is, and then how to get it, and then the additional how many coupons it earns, the time it gets, and the points per minute. So first is Pokemon Colosseum's Mount Battle mode, doing all 100 trainers. That nets you 14,950 in 3 hours and 30 minutes. So that's a total of 71.2 points per minute. Next up is Colosseum's Mount Battle mode, just Area 10. That's 5,000 coupons in 50 minutes. Now you might think that some of these times are wrong, and I'll get into why that doesn't really matter on a little bit later during this step. The next one is going to be Colosseum Battle Mode, or Colosseum. It gets you about 3,000 in an hour and 45. This is based off of a YouTube video that I found of someone completing it. Maybe someone's optimized it to make it take less time, but regardless, it's clearly outclassed by Mount Battle Battle Mode Area 10 only. Moving on, we have XD Mount Battle All Trainers. It nets you 9,100 in 3.5 hours. It's only 43.3 points per minute, so Colosseum is destroying it. And then the Area 10 for XD only awards 40 ppm. It's actually worse than All Trainers, which is really funny to me. But so clearly we can see what's the best for Colosseum and what's the best for XD. But then we remember Avon has the strategy for Battle Bingo. And when I broke down their strategy, it came out to 66 points per minute. So if you only have XD, the Scyther strategy is clearly the best. If you have Colosseum, you should probably do Area 10 in 50 minutes. But with my strategy, it actually destroys these times. It saves time and earns you so many more coupons. So on my worst time in XD Battle Bingo 1 panel extra, and the times include the amount of time it took me to set up the entire thing, I earned 3,750 in 26 minutes, which comes out to 144.2. And then on my best time, I got the same number of coupons in 20 minutes and 45 seconds, which is 180 points per minute. Now what this means is that in order for the Scyther strat to match these numbers, you would need to beat the Scyther card in under 5 minutes and 30 seconds, which isn't possible. And then in order for Mount Colosseum's Mount Battle Area 10 to beat my worst time, you would have to beat Area 10 in 35 minutes. And if you wanted to beat my best time, you would need to beat the entirety of Area 10 in under 27 minutes. So even if my original time of like 50 minutes or 15 minutes, even if those are off, I think the difference in those times is strong enough that it doesn't matter. If anyone has faster times, I would love to hear about them. Post them in the comments below. Alright, so let's get into how all of this works and how it breaks down. As setup for it, I did make a guide showing whether or not a Pokemon is able to defeat it. So all 13 Pokemon on the extra board are set. You don't know what panel they're going to be under, but we always know it's going to be these 13. So on number 2, Houndoom has a yes under Chimecho. That means that Houndoom knocks out Chimecho. Lunatone has a yes under Grumpig. That means Lunatone can knock out Grumpig. You get the idea. And then there's the 50-50s that are marked for ones that are a coin flip. Normally these battles go too long, and crits and flinch and status effects and stat drops come into effect, so it's hard to figure out who's going to win. It's just too chance-like. In column O, I recorded how many Pokemon they can knock out, so Slowbro can knock out 10 of the Pokemon, only unable to defeat Exeggutor and Girafarig. Houndoom has a 9.5 because it kills everything except 3 of them and has a 50-50 against Lunatone. So when making the best team, since we already start with Houndoom, we want to cover Houndoom's weaknesses, which I've highlighted in red. That's what the coverage column is. I gave Houndoom 5 just so that way it ends up above the others, but then I sorted the Pokemon by their coverage. So Exeggutor knocks out 4 of the Pokemon that Houndoom can't defeat, Slowbro knocks out 3 of them, but one of them is Slowbro, and Slowbro obviously can't knock itself out, so it's actually fairer to say that this is a 4, if I'm being honest. Slowbro and Exeggutor are definitely on the same tier. And then below that we have Chimecho, who can defeat 2 of them and goes 50-50 with Lunatone. So these are the best 3 Pokemon, and for the rest of the guide, I'm going to be calling it a BPP as Best Partner Pokemon. Now, the whole thing is that we're not going to know where exactly these Pokemon are on the board. You know, the board is randomized every single time. And this is where scouting comes into effect. So I'm actually going to switch screens here so that way you can see what I have going on. So I'm going to back out over here. Let's hop into one panel. And the difference between one panel and four panel, I'll get into as soon as I get past this. So I hop into panel 1. I found out it's a Jinx. I'm just going to write down Jinx. Most people think that the board gets shuffled the second you leave the board, and that's kind of a poor explanation of it. What it actually is that if you win the board, yes, it'll shuffle, and if you entirely back out of bingo, yes, it'll shuffle. But when you hit B to see whether or not when you hit B to back out, it'll ask you, do you want to keep playing this board? And if you just say yes, you're able to continue playing the board. Now, I can't beat Medicham based on our chart that I showed us earlier because it has high jump kick and we're a dark type. So we're just going to catch it and continue moving throughout the board. So I know this is Medicham. I'm going to fill that out. And then we're going to check out this one. Medicham. Lunatone. So Jinx cannot beat Lunatone, and since I'm in the scouting period, I'm just going to hit give up because it's going to make the board go by faster. Now, so the difference between 4 panel and 1 panel is that in 1 panel, I have to move off of the move I just made, so I can't go back to Jinx and pick the question mark below her. I have to pick one of the ones adjacent to Medicham. In 4 panel, I could go back to my previous picks and scroll past those. So, can Medicham beat Lunatone? It can, but I don't want to rely on high jump kick. So we're going to go down, and it's Chimecho! And Chimecho decimates Medicham. So what we're going to do now is we're going to give up because I don't have Pokemon that can do it. And then I'm going to say, yes, I would like to play the card again. And it's the exact same board, no changes. So I'm able to come over here. It's a Claydol. We'll write down Claydol. Now Chimecho is important because we have figured out where Chimecho is. We're going to throw the Master Ball out. Catch the Claydol, just to make this go by a little faster. Also, Houndoom can't defeat Claydol, so if I didn't catch it here, that would be the end of the scouting run, which is kind of a waste of time. I'll move down with Claydol, and it's a +1. And I'll give it to Claydol. I'll move down here with Claydol again, so I can mark what this is. It's Girafarig. Now, Girafarig has Thunderbolt, so we're just going to use Earthquake to destroy it. And then, what I'm going to do is I'm going to check and defeat the area below Girafarig, so that way I can get a bingo, so we can continue scouting. And then I'm going to check out what that other question mark is, because if I know if it's a 2+ or a Master Ball, I can also fill in what the other one is. So let's head down with Houndoom. I'm just going to catch whatever it is, or not. This is a really bad Pokemon to catch because it has Psychic as its attack, which on a Psychic board is just bad. So we'll crunch it to death real fast. And this is going to take a bit. Scouting is less time than playing the board, actually, but it's a pretty lengthy process. On our Google Sheet that I had up previously, you'll see that scouting takes, like, on average 8 minutes and, like, 40 seconds, 8 minutes and 30 seconds. The play time that I have highlighted includes the scouting time. So it took me 26 minutes in this run to scout and beat the board. Jumping back over here, we beat Grumpig, we get a bingo. I'm going to give the point to Houndoom. I'm going to move over with Houndoom. Let's see what this is. It's Slowking. Slowking has Brick Break as its attack, but I'm not actually too worried about it because it's not strong unless it crits. We'll see if it does, now that I'm banking on it not doing that. And then I'll explain how to make a route using this as soon as we know where everything is. So now we're going to move up with Claydol, and it's the Master Ball. So this scouting run is actually over, but we know that this is the 2+. So I would like to play the board again, and these are the only 4 panels we don't have info on. So what I can do is I can defeat this Pokemon that I'm facing, move down. I could even just catch it to speed it up so we don't have to watch battle animations. And then I can move either down or to the left, it doesn't matter. But we're going to go down. And it's going to be Metagross. We're going to run from Metagross because Xatu can't beat it. We're going to move over and we're going to catch whatever this is. Exeggutor. And now I'm hoping the one below Exeggutor is Slowbro, because that'll make rooting very easy and explaining how to root. And then we can just see whatever this Pokemon is, and because we know what all 13 Pokemon is, we'll know which one we're missing. We're missing Slowbro and Solrock right now, so it's Slowbro. So I'm going to be able to mark all that down. I'm going to bold what I previously described as the BPPs, and I'm going to give in. And the goal right now is to just quit playing this card, say I would like to play again. So let's jump back to the spreadsheet. So the way to create an efficient route is to have clear goals defined for the route. Now remember, we need to manage our EPs and such like that in order to make sure that we can clear the entire board. In order to do this, there's 3 things you need to be able to do. The first is that in your first 6 moves, you need to get to 2 of the BPPs. Here we can get to Exeggutor Slowbro, we can get to Chimecho Exeggutor Slowbro. This is actually a really, great board for this. The second goal is that we need to make a bingo within our first 4 moves if we only catch 1 BP. But if we catch 2 of the BPPs, then we can do it in 6 moves. So what I can do here is, let's say I started on Slowking, I could use one of my moves to get to Metagross, use one of Houndour's moves to catch Slowbro, which now Slowbro has 2 EP, move up, catch Exeggutor. Slowbro now has 2 and Slowbro has 1, Exeggutor has 2. Move up, it's the +2, it's just free EP, and then move up and I have a bingo. So that would cover it. But let's say I could only find Chimecho. Then what I would have to do is, and this would be a losing move, don't do this, but as an example, if we started on Metacham and caught Chimecho, Chimecho has 2 EP left, so the only way I can get a bingo is by just going straight down 2, which now gives me 1 additional movement. The third thing to do is to find extra EP. You can do this by landing on any of the question marks, because if you get a +1, you gain an extra EP. If you get a +2, you get an extra EP. It's important to get these early on because of how little EP and how few bingos you can actually make. So you want to be able to get those within those first moves. So your first 6 moves, you're aiming to get 2 BPPs, you're aiming to get 1 bingo, and you're aiming to get 1 bonus EP. Important to note, if you have 1 EP left when you're planning your route and you land on the Master Ball, you will lose because you run out of EP, so you can't actually use the Master Ball. So that's just a really bad plan. This route is pretty easy. We would catch Slowbro, catch Exeggutor, get the +2, get the Jinx, have a bingo, And from there, we could just move in this kind of pattern to fill in the entire board. Now remember, with one panel mode, we can't go back to a previous panel. So in the previous example where I did all of column 2, if I went over to Slowbro, I would never be able to get over to columns 3 and 4 because I would only be able to move straight up because I've already done Metacham, so I can't go from Jinx to Metacham. So that's pretty much the explanation on how to route. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to clear a board, I'm going to bring up the timer, and I'm going to show you guys how quickly this can get done. So let's hop over here, let me bring up a timer, and then let's open Dolphin. I'm going to back out entirely. You're going to see the board get shuffled. And I'll start the time once I start the dialogue for opening the bingo. Oh, nice. Sorry for the cut, I wanted to go get the Vulpix. Alright, so let me pull up game and start the timer. So we pay our 500, we scroll down to Houndoom, we're going to play this bingo card, it gets shuffled because we backed out, and then we're going to do one panel. Let's hop in, do some scouting. It's Executor, that's nutty, that's a BPP. Highlight that. We're just gonna catch it right away because it's too strong not to catch. And even if we find all the BPPs next to each other before we finish scouting, we're going to still finish scouting so that way we know which one is facing what. Jinx, so this is actually a bummer. Executor can't defeat Jinx, so I might actually just run from it. No, I'll just catch it. Who can Jinx beat? Jinx can be Girafarig, Grumpig, Xatu, and a 50-50 on Metagross. Well, I have Houndoom, so I don't need to worry about Metagross. We'll move one over, we'll use Jinx because I don't really care. It's Girafarig. This is great because, as I stated previously, on the chart it shows that Jinx can beat Girafarig assuming no one crits and no one gets paralyzed or frozen or anything like that. And then that's going to be a bingo, and we're going to use the bingo to give Houndour a point. Or Executor. Ooh. Both of them defeat 9.5, so I might... Who doesn't have a point? Both of them do? I'll give it to Houndour just because it's safer. We're going to move one down with Houndour. It's Chimecho, which is also, you guessed it, a BPP. I don't have a Master Ball, so I'm just going to have to defeat it. Its only move is Shadow Ball, so we're not too worried about it being a threat or anything like that. Now we're going to check with this not this last one, but I'm going to check this question mark block, and if it's a 2+ or the Master Ball, then we know that the very last one is the 2+ or the Master Ball. So because that one's the Master Ball, I know that the next one is going to be the 2+. So I don't have to scout there. We're going to mark it as the Master Ball, and we're going to mark this as the 2+. Oop, I don't know why that's bold. Oh, I didn't reset formatting. Get rid of that. It's Claydol. We beat Claydol. Oops, that's not where the 2+ is. I think the only downside to this is that Battle Bingo music will be stuck in your head for a few weeks. It's definitely going to be stuck in mine. The Claydol fight takes a little while. Claydol is one of the harder Pokemon to defeat just because it defeats so many things. But every single BPP is able to beat Claydol. so that doesn't matter. Chimecho has Levitate, so Earthquake doesn't hit. Slowbro has Surf and is too tanky for Earthquake to kill. And then Executor obviously has Mega Drain. I'm going to move over here. That was Claydol. And then this is Grumpig. Now, I could defeat it or I could catch it. I'm going to get a bingo either way. So I'm going to defeat it, get the +1, and then I'm going to catch whatever's directly below me. We might be able to get all the scouting done like this round. It depends on how this goes. Give it to Houndoom, move one down. Who is it? Slowbro. Okay, so we can't get the scouting down because I absolutely cannot defeat Slowbro. But I can catch it. So we might still be okay. Now I know what the 2+ is, so I'm just not going to bother checking it, even though it would be nice to have the extra EP for scouting. If I just hold off on doing it, everything goes a little faster. So Solrock has Flamethrower. Solrock's a bit weird. I expected it to be worse than it is, but it kills Jinx, it kills Metagross, it kills Xatu. It defeats one other. Yeah, it kills Executor, Girafarig, Grumpig, Xatu, and 50/50s on Metagross. No, I just looked at Jinx. It's a little hard to manage everything. Now we've already beat Girafarig and Executor, so we can just use Slowbro for the rest of this. This is Metacham. And we know where all the BPPs are. Do I still have a Master Ball left? No, because I caught Executor, Jinx, and Slowbro. And eventually this battle ends, I promise. Luckily, because every Pokemon only has one move, it's kind of just a button pressing. So setting up the route and scouting and everything like that is kind of the brain power of Battle Bingo, whereas Mount Battle obviously has battle decision making. I already know that that's a +2. I could just beat it here, but I want to like show authentically how long this takes. I do kill Slowking, but this is a super long fight, so I'm just not going to. We'll play the card again. We can go here, and we'll actually be able to scout everything. Metagross. And then I'm able to just hit give in because I don't feel like taking this long on the battle. And I can just check what this is, and it's Xatu. So I'm missing Lunatone? Yeah. So that gives us that. We're going to give in. It's going to reset the board. I can mark the scouting time as 7:15 because I know where everything is. I'm going to play the card again. Looking at our board, in our first 6 moves, we can catch 2 of the BPP. We can get a bingo, and we can get the +2. We'll even be able to get the +1. So we might actually be able to get every BPP, which would be pretty nutty. So let's start with that. We're going to start with Executor. Oops, I was supposed to catch that. I got too excited. We don't lose too much time, luckily. And then we're going to move down to Grumpig. And I'm just going to clear them out as I go to kind of make my life a little easier. Grumpig is defeated by Houndoom, because Houndoom is a dark type, Grumpig only has Psychic, so we can just crunch, crunch, crunch. And then move down, it's Slowbro, but we only have one EP, so we have to use Executor, or rather, we only have one Pokemon with our EP. So now we catch it. We're out of Master Balls, which is a bit of a bummer. Just because I would have liked to get Chimecho also. And then we're going to move down, it's Soul Rock. So we're going to use these two. This will give us a Bingo, who defeats Metacham, Slowbro and Executor both do, so it doesn't matter who I use. I'm going to use Slowbro just because he hits a little harder. And then we have Claydol right after that. Yeah. But yeah, so if you're getting 5,000 coupons per run on Mount Battle Area 10, you would have to do Mount Battle Area 10 12 times in order to get the 60,000 coupons required to buy all the berries. Now that's obviously a lot of runs, and if those are taking about 50 minutes each, then you're going to be pushing somewhere between 12 to 10 hours, depending on how many mistakes you make. I guess with some optimization, you might be able to get it down to 9 hours. Using this method, if every 25 minutes you're getting 3,750, you only have to spend about 5 to 7 hours doing this. So it's not, depending on how good you are at it, it might be a lot faster. Executor is going to defeat that. I want Houndoom to defeat Jinx. And then we'll just give that there. We'll move up. This is Claydol. Let's use Executor. Let's delete these just so we know that they're clear on our route. Slowbro hits harder here, but Executor has the heals, and Slowbro doesn't resist. Slowbro should win this every single time because of Surf, but I just would rather play it safe with the heals. On the off chance Claydol gets a crit, this is kind of our way of playing around that. Just remember, always play around the crit. So we'll get rid of Claydol. Up next is the +1 and a Bingo. And I'm just going to use that to give Houndoom and then Executor points. So let's move up. We'll use Houndoom. This is a Bingo. We'll give 1 to Houndoom and 1 to Executor. We'll move on. This is Jinx, so we're going to defeat it with this. We'll delete. Now, I might do a bit of a different path here just to make sure I don't run out of EP. Because I could just catch Lunatone and save it. But if I get the diagonal Bingo by defeating Girafarig, getting +1, and then going down, I'll be able to get 2 Bingos on the horizontal and the diagonal there, which will give me more EP than if I just went straight down. Though, do I have enough EP to pick up the Master Ball? Does Lunatone beat Slowking? Yes. So I have 2, and I would get to catch. I think I just go for Girafarig here. Does Slowbro beat Chimecho? Yes. This is where our route becomes really overly important. This battle might take 2 hits. Yeah. But we're going to get it, and then we're going to give the point to Slowbro. And then as long as Chimecho doesn't crit us, we should win that. Alternatively, I could just give it to Houndoom. Yeah, I don't know why I'm talking about Slowbro. Houndoom gets the point here. Because it's a guaranteed kill on Chimecho because of resistance and super effective hit. Thanks for the bingo, nerd. Alright, you move one down. We're going to defeat one of the BPPs because we don't have BBPs because we don't have a Master Ball. We're gonna use Crunch. Man, this is gonna be a great time. Holy shit. Alright. Then we move one over with Slowbro. We get a Master Ball. It gives us 2 bingos. Next is Lunatone, so I'm going to use Executor, and then after that is Slowking. So we're going to use Executor again. I'm going to move one down. This will get us Lunatone, and then when I defeat Slowking, I'll get a bingo. And you get bonus points for holding on to as many EP as possible and holding on to as many Master Balls as you can. So we may see me get more than 3,600. It might be a 3,750 run. It might even be higher. But we'll see what this gets us and how long of a time. So I'm on Lunatone right now. I'm pretty sure Executor always kills Slowking. And this flinching is okay. If we get too low where I'm worried about getting killed, I'll just throw out the Master Ball and catch it. Yeah. How worried am I? Yeah, I'll just catch it. I would rather beat the run and be able to just move on to the next one than have to do this again. Move down. This is going to be Slowking. So we lose the bonus points, but it's faster to just be able to move on to the next run than it is have to replay the entire thing and try to optimize for keeping a Master Ball. And then because we're going to be going up against Xatu, I'm going to use Slowbro, because Slowbro is our strongest chance against Xatu. We could use Houndoom, but Houndoom's in crit range, so I'd rather just be safe and use Slowbro here. And then I'll stop time once I'm out of the dialogue of the woman giving me the coupons. So that's a bingo. We'll give it to Slowbro because it's Xatu. I could even use Lunatone here. And then last is going to be Metagross. And then this will give us 2 bingos. I'm just going to use both points on Houndoom because Houndoom can't get hit by Metagross and essentially just wins us the run. Ah, almost. If that had been a one-shot, we would have been on a really good time. And then that clears that, and now we just give the points to Houndoom, and there's no way we can lose the run because only Metagross is left and he has Psychic. So now it's a button smash simulator. Though if we get out of this within the next 2 minutes, this will be my fastest time. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Then I'll get ready to type in how many points it gets. I'll throw this up over here, just so that way it's on the screen when we switch to the spreadsheet. So that's flipped every panel. How many points is it? It's 3,750, and that's time. So let's hop back to the spreadsheet fast. Oops. Let's hop back to the spreadsheet. So it was 3,750, and it was 19 minutes and 22 seconds. I'm gonna do math here. Let's break out the calculator. 22 divided by 60 is 0.36 repeating, so it's 3,750 divided by 19.36 repeating, which comes out to 193.6 points per minute, which absolutely demolishes my previous times, which is insane. Guide run. That's funny. But yeah, as I went over the math earlier, this demolishes the better times of the Colosseum Area 10, which was earning 100 points per minute. We almost doubled that. And then the Scyther strat, which took 15 minutes and got you 66. We're I think we're actually 3 times that at this point. No, we're 5 under 3 times that. But so this method is clearly superior. It takes a little bit to get used to the properly making a route, just because there's, like, the movement is a little tricky. But once you figure it out, this method is insanely faster. And my average time right now, I'll just do round numbers, 25 plus 26 plus 22.5 and 26. That's not 26, that's a 25. So 25, 21, 22.5, 26, and then that was 1922, so I'll just say 19.5, and then divide that by 5. The average time was 22 minutes. And so if I do the 60,000 points that we need, divide that by the, we'll say, I get somewhere between 3,600 and 3,750, so I'm just going to put it at 3,675, just because that's the middle point. So that's the middle point. So you would need to do this 16 times, a little more than 16 times, so we'll say 17 times. And if each run is taking you 22 or 23 minutes, divide that by 60. This only takes 6.5 hours on average to do the entire thing, whereas if you're doing the 60,000 divided by the 5,000 from Colosseum, and then you need to do it 12 times, each run takes 50 minutes, divide that by 60, you're looking at 10 hours if you do that on average. If you push that time down, that's great. I don't think it'll be enough to beat this method. Genuinely, I don't. But if anyone does do it, I would love to see the run. This has been so much fun optimizing. I've enjoyed this a lot. I hope you enjoyed the demonstration of it. I hope you enjoyed the explanation of the guide. If you have a faster method, if you find out that collecting the CDs is able to earn you 15,000 faster than this bingo method can, if you can collect all 50 battle CDs and be able to beat them in under an hour and a half, if you can do it in like an hour and 15 probably, No, it would need to be about an hour and 8 minutes. Then that would be faster than just using this method the entire time. And the good news is you can get Battle Bingo super early on in the game. It's right before Fennec City in XD, so you can do this before even hitting post game. And if you ever get bored of doing the XD storyline, you can just come over here, grind out some battle points, and then get right back to it. But again, massive shout out to the ribbon running community for keeping my interest in something as stupid as Battle Bingo. And then shout out to Adon Praetor again for laying the groundwork for why Battle Bingo could be a potentially incredible time saver. And I hope you all like bingo!